He's gunning out more people than anybody in the league. These are those small moves that guys like Billy Beane and that ownership has been able to do within their budget that continuously lets this team succeed. And, I think it's kind of incredible. And, what they've done has been replicated across the league, as they pointed out in Moneyball. But it's really, it's a combination of the two. It's the aesthetics, I guess, of those moves that are really hurting the quote-unquote casual fan. And then you got to pretty up that stadium that, no one likes to read a headline, sewage backs up into the home team's dugout.
There's a lot of dead memories in that stadium. There's a lot of bad memories in that stadium. And the Raiders playing there didn't help. But two more questions for me, one serious, one Bay Area themed. So, last serious question. I get that. I get what the A's have been doing. And quietly as kept, I've kind of always liked the A's, but I've never been a fan. I can't pretend like I've ever been a fan. Like, I moved out to Los Angeles in 1999, like August 99.
And adopted the Angels.
Like, I saw the Angels beat the Giants, and I was like, yes, because I hate the Giants better than I like breathing. I hate the Giants better than I like breathing air. I don't think how you understand what that means to me. Like, if my firstborn child came out saying F the Giants, like if that were their first words, I've won in life. But I would say when it comes to that, when does it get to the point, and you look at a team like the Angels who just flounders, and the A's have always had their number, if we're just going to be honest, quiet as kept, the A's have always had the Angels number. Right. And you look at, they got Trout, but they wasted Jared Weaver's entire prime. They got Pujols on honestly a bad contract, if we're being honest. You look at the fact that they have more pub, and they've been more almost at the cusp of getting to the World Series compared to the A's, and you ask yourself, okay, how long is just being good enough and making chicken salad out of shit what we have? Like, how long is that acceptable? Like, when does it come to a point where, like, the A's say, you know what, A's fans start demanding more? I don't know if, like, do the A's try to go recruit Marshawn Lynch? I don't know, like, can it be a situation where, like, they say, look, MLB, could you just, help us out with this cap? Like, what? At what point does the status quo stop being an excuse for the A's to not deliver?
Well, for some people, it's already happened. As for some people, they've given up. I mean, when you have the Giants across the bay who have won 3 in 10, 3 World Series in 10 years, you have the casual fan. It's pretty easy to toss your A's cap and pick up a Giants cap.
Those people are horrible human beings and are not worthy of love.
It just happens. But I'll answer that question with, how long did it take Boston to win their World Series after their drought? How long did it take the Cubs to win their World Series?
That's
was that 89 years, something like that?
That's different.
Pirates, how long
is it taking the Dodgers?
Right. Exactly. The A's won in 89. The Dodgers won in 88. That was their last World Series, and they've been to the World Series. How long? Losing.
That's like your catchphrase around the city.
My sister's 30 years old.
All since you've been here. Huh?
I'm pointing it out to everybody.
I feel like you yell that, but no one hears it. I'm glad people are hearing it now because I've been here. I heard this in the newsroom all the time.
Hey, we have our ring is a little bit younger than theirs, but
fun fact.
It's a fan base thing. It's like it's the culture that you are able to create within your fan base, and I think people are okay with losses. I think people are okay with making it the wild card and losing, especially when you have expectations to get there. I think I want to say it was 2012, when they traded Cespedes. I think that season really stung because that team was so good from the outset. It was expected to be great. And they mess with things at the deadline. And, there's arguments that they had to do it. There's arguments that they were trending downward and they had to make a spark. The rotation was falling apart. They pulled in Shamarja and all those guys, Lester, and it didn't work out. All right, whatever. But it's going to I think that it's just the culture that you have to foster around that fan base, and you have to get rid of these perceptions of a team. I really think that signing Chris Davis to a 3-year deal will go a long way in melding a lot of feelings for fans, because that's a big concern. Are we going to keep Chris Davis? Are we going to keep Matt Chapman? Are we going to keep Piscotty has a solid deal? Are we going to keep a Sean Manaea? Those guys. People aren't expecting that. They're kind of almost waiting to be let down. So, when you couple those things with also making it to the wild card game and not winning, making it to the divisional series and flaming out there, you couple it with losing your fan favorites, it fosters this feeling of, screw these guys. What am I going to do here? So it's just, and then you add in the stadium situation. It's a bad look. I mean, Tampa Bay's dealing with the same stuff.
Tampa Bay,
the Tampa Bay Rays. It's a shitty stadium. Their payroll is bad, and it is what it is. So it's just you got to fix some of these small things. It's almost like rebuilding from scratch with some of the fans. Just sign this guy here, make it, and they're making improvements to the stadium while they try to build it. The treehouse was a great addition. It's just these small things, I think. And the wins will come. I mean, only one team gets to win the World Series every year, and the rest are first losers, second losers. It is what it is. So
these are small market
kind
arguments.
Of a hard question to answer.
Yeah, because it's like you're telling me the same jargon I've heard most of my life, and I agree. But it's like I'll equate this to Kofi Kingston's career. Or Daniel Bryant when he went on that title run, and eventually beat Batista and Randy Orton. I'm only doing this because WrestleMania is this Sunday, and
is this Sunday?
Yep, WrestleMania. So I just think eventually you have to get over the hump. You have to sell out all out at least one of these years, just so people can understand that you're not playing. You got to do something outside the norm, because I feel like it's insanity. Sorry, not to be a jerk.
No. I mean, I see what you're saying. It's, and I think that was the 2012 year, because that was the year where they went after the big names. They brought in guys to help, and it just didn't work out. And and we've seen that happen before. I mean, do you remember that year when the Padres traded for Matt Kemp?
Yeah,
and made all these moves and brought in all those guys, and everyone's going, "Oh, the Padres, that's the team," and they dismantled that team a year later.
And now they're signing a guy for $333 million who isn't even that good.
Yeah. Let me see if he hustles. But,
yeah, man.
But it's tough. It's tough. Mainly, I mean, the payroll thing. There's some gray area there. I mean, they need to start spending that competitive balance money that they get. There's a whole thing with the players' union about all these teams getting these monies from this money, from the league, and then not spending it and then pretty much pocketing it. It's like when your parents would send you to the corner store and you would hold on to the change. That's what they do. And all these teams, Tampa Bay, that's what they're doing. So it's going to take a bit. But I also think, if personally, if I'm the A's ownership, I'm not spending money until I build a stadium. Personally, I'm not.
Go ahead.
Talk about hardball.
Oh no! I was just saying, I'm really not going to invest in players when you're going to spend all this money, you're going to invest in all these players, and then the fans don't come out. We remember
it's the chicken
when they
before
signed
the egg.
Eric Chavez that long. Yeah. It's are the fans going to come out because you sign players?
Yeah.
What if you sign the players and the fans don't come out?
Yeah.
Is it and then that shows that it's really the stadium, that hideous stadium. And I'm still upset with the Raiders for building Mount Davis over that thing, because we would still have the views of the Oakland Hills.
All the A's fans are mad about that. Every A's fan
the stadium would be a little bit bearable.
Let me ask you this, though.
A little bit bearable.
You talked a lot about fan culture. You talked a lot about stadiums. So, obviously here in L.A., we had the whole news incident of a Dodger fan, getting beat up and put on life support. And it's not the first time this has happened at Dodger Stadium. So I'm just curious kind of what you make of the whole Dodger Stadium and Dodger fan culture, as someone who's somewhat of an outsider. I mean, now you've been here long enough to not be an outsider, but, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and good news. I mean, he seems like he's coming out of it.
Yeah.
I was reading a couple of stories earlier. It seems like he's coming out of it. I've been to Dodger games versus the A's as a away fan. I don't try to hide that I'm an A's fan when I go, at Dodger Stadium, and it's been all right. But then, and I've been to games where it was Dodgers versus the Giants, and I'm just there to watch, as a fan of baseball, and
trying not to die.
God forbid if you're wearing God forbid if you're wearing Giants fan gear, because they'll let you hear it. It's interesting. I mean, I don't like to demonize an entire fan base, because I feel like that's a few idiots acting out in heated situations. Maybe they had a little bit too much to drink. I don't know. But, the calls for improved security, I think it's warranted. However, I also think that there's a personal responsibility that fans have to, undertake in these situations. Just stop being assholes to one another.
Police each other.
Yeah, it's a sport. Like, all right, your team lost. Does that really impact your day? No. Is it really worth punching somebody in the face over? No. But, people let their emotions run high, and the drama of the games help propel that. I just think that it's really got to be a personal responsibility thing. Is it the NFL that stopped serving beer after halftime, or is it third quarter?
Might have been college football too. But I
mean, college football. I know
they tried that one time. Some schools ban it, but I do know that the NFL stopped the Niners and the Raiders from playing in the preseason after the Niners jumped and stabbed all those people in the parking lot in the bathroom.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like,
that was a bad look for the Bay Area overall.
Right. And Pete, you had mentioned it happened before. I think that was something like a decade ago with that Giants fan, right?
Yeah.
It
was under the previous ownership group.
Ned Kelly.
No, there was McCourt.
No, McCourt. Yeah, Frank McCourt. Yeah.
Right.
Who still owns the parking lot, I believe?
Still owns the parking lot.
Yeah. They're trying to build that gondola.
Yeah.
Trying to build that gondola at Union Station, which, I mean, you're going to have to go over freeways. I don't know about all that. But, it's downtown in my beat. But, I think it's a personal responsibility thing combined with, a little bit of increased security. I mean, I've dealt with that at the Coliseum. Sometimes you need a little bit of extra security, somebody to, pipe up and tell people to shut up, pretty much. But there's just no need for it. And, at a certain point, the Dodger fan base is going to start looking real bad. I mean, worse than it's already looking to a lot of people. I mean, I would hate to say it gets to the point where people aren't bringing their kids to these games, because people can't act right. Out of every sport, baseball, I think, is the sport that you really want to bring your kids to. It's you got really 81 home games, throughout the year. It's easy to go and just enjoy the atmosphere.
And the
baseball.
Cost is cheaper.
Yeah.
It's cheaper. Yeah, versus the 8 games you get at a home game, and and then football and something like 41 or something in basketball. Yeah. No, so it's cheaper. It's more of a family affair. And these incidents are making it hard to depict baseball in some of these stadiums in that light. It's a real shame.
Same way Raiders fans get a really bad rap.
Yeah, and I was gonna say Dodger fans need to stop blaming Raiders fans, because I heard that take all week.
Hey, Jackie.
The Dodgers' new fan culture is basically, because of the Raiders fans from LA, they didn't have anywhere to go, and so now they became Dodger fans.
And Raiders fans back in the 90s, the cheerleaders carried shanks in their pom-poms because it was wild in Oakland in the 90s.
No, LA.
No, but I'm talking about that's where you think about the fan base from Oakland. They there's gang culture in Raiders fans, but there's gang culture in Dodgers fans. Probably more so with Dodgers fans, but
they never left.
Yeah, they never left, and a lot of people are homegrown Dodger fans. And the San Francisco
Dodgers fool.
Yeah. Don't give me. I'm not even gonna, once you hear that, and you're in the line for the bathroom.
Yeah, no, that's the call.
But I mean,
that's when your ears perk up.
I mean, a person from Oakland, I'm from Oakland. I lived up the street from the Coliseum, and going to the Raiders games and the few A's games that I've been to, even though like there's this stigma of violence behind it, I could say as a Oakland